Data is so critical for companies today that some have equated it to the gold of this century. Well, how companies are collecting this data, protecting it, and why it is so important is the focus of our next segment.
Mike, it's good to have you on the show, Money and Markets. It's been a while since we hosted you here. Well, it's 2019 and currently many companies are focusing, on the new things, new areas, to look at. And from what we hear in different quarters, the issue of data is coming out quite prominently. What can you say about data in 2019 going forward?
I think data is the next gold mine. So companies that are able to use their data and use it very well are companies that are going to move to the next level. Because lots of companies here have data as a checkbox. So you collect, if you're opening up a bank account, you'll ask me, who is your next of kin? I'll give you the details. You'll ask me, do I have children? Probably yes. And know your customer. Just giving that as an example. And there will be, I've not had any bank that has contacted me, for example, to ask me, why haven't you opened an account for your children? And yet on their phones, they have data that talks about me under the KYC. Yeah, they collect a lot of information about me as an individual. But being able to use that data to grow your business is a whole new game. It's a whole new game. So you have what I'd call a mixed bag. Majority of the companies here, or majority of the organizations here hardly use data. Decisions are really made. The greatest data used is the financial data, and it's more on the last bit of the data process, and that is, let's say, your financial statements, but not the different components that move the statement that make it what it is. So it's going, there's need for us to begin to see that data process, the value chain of data, and begin to see the things that move the numbers and see how they imply or apply or impact the bottom line.
When you look at Ugandan companies and maybe the public sector, do you think enough effort is invested in protecting data?
A couple of processes. I mean, you've had a couple of data breaches here. You've had people's laptops stolen and everything is gone. You've had offices broken into and probably everything is gone. It's resident on someone's laptop or desktop. And like departments like finance, they have a separate server. And somebody comes and takes the server or takes the hard disk, and you're gone. And you hear people saying, hey, it's trouble. And probably they have like a drive where they do their backup. So we've gone into automation, which is exciting. However, that comes with a lot of risk, and that's why you find quite a number of companies are still running a dual process. They have a manual and an automated process. And the essence is really trying to say, should anything happen, I can fall back here. So the way data is treated here with automation, it is still, of course, banks, the insurance, the telecoms, those at a different level. With Ministry of Finance is a different level. But when you go to different other ministries, just ask them, give me the status of this. You will have to hop from one office to another, to another, to another. Which brings me to the issue of institutional data structure. Like having an appreciation of how is our data structured and how does it converge and what value do we get out of that convergence? It's still a gray area.
Why is it important for companies to pay attention to data Why is it important to the large players and small players and as well as individuals?
Like I told you, it is your gold mine. You work with your data properly, you grow. You pay attention to the data, you grow. I was mentoring a startup that is into bakery. They're into baking products. And I asked them, your numbers, give me your numbers. How many do you sell? Who do you sell? And as we did the interrogation, he found out that he sells 80% of his products to a certain company, and he thought that was his number one client. And I said, but why do those people buy it? And then he came down because of the kids. In his process, children were not anywhere. So the competition is getting stiffer and stiffer and stiffer. The ability to start is no longer as complicated as it was maybe 20 years ago. So I will see what you're doing. Probably in the next couple of months, I'll have the same. And the difference will be on what I use with the information that I have.
Now, if something is valuable, it means there are those that are interested in taking it, sometimes in an unscrupulous manner. So how can companies protect their data?
Institutions need to pay attention to, first of all, where is the data stored? Once it has been brought in, processed, and it is aligned, who accesses that data? So you need to look at your data protocols. Who accesses the data, in what format do they access it, and what can they do with it? There are institutions that you can, for example, take a screenshot of the data. You can view it, but you can't take a screenshot, you can't print it. So that is a higher level of securing your data, because, like I said, it's your gold mine. Now, so it is critical to be able to look at your data structure and see how does it come in, how is it processed, how is it stored, but how is it retrieved, and who has access to that data.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Pleasure.